I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show. Whether you're watching on YouTube or on Rumble or listening via podcast, this is episode 141, One for One. And of course, that's where my big idea came from. One for one. Who is your one for one? In this week's episode, I consider friendship and the basis on which you make, keep, build, and leave friendships. Who are your friends? How did these friendships happen? Do all of your friends add to you or multiply you? Or do some of your friends divide you and take away from you? They're the four mathematical symbols. I say that consciously thinking about your friends and your friendships can help you find hidden gold where you least expected it. I further say that investing time and energy in your friendships unconsciously could be slowing you down from your desired progress. Raise your self-awareness about why you have the friends that you do and into which of your friendships you really want to invest your precious time and energy. I'm sure you will find this episode of value. Our format for the show is that I share my big idea for the week. I share resources to help you implement the principle behind the big idea, have a quick review about crucial matters that might have occurred over the past week, and then the foundational principles for the show and some background detail about me come at the end of the show so that regular viewers and listeners don't have to spend time on that because, of course, they know that. So let's go with today's big idea. No one does it alone. We all have friends. We all need friends. I hope you have bucket loads of friends. As they say in the classics, what is your visible means of support? Well, we need invisible means of support, the support of friends. Tribes are created because all of us need help sometimes. And the tribes, as the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Tribes of human beings get created from people who have similar values, similar culture, similar feelings about what's important. Disasters can be survived when we have friends. There are a couple of disasters around the world at the moment in Turkey and New Zealand. Imagine if the people there did not have other people coming to help them. But I want to provoke you to think consciously about your friends, rather than just having friends who have unconsciously evolved into your life. How have you selected your friends? Who are your deepest friends now? And which friends did you have in the past that have gone? And which of them do you wish you still had? Do your friendships just happen, or do they happen consciously? I have found a remarkable shift over the last 3 years in terms of creation of new friends. These days, because of the increasing attacks on human freedoms, on truth, that's from censorship by mainstream media and tech giants, attacks on justice, the improper application of laws, the attacks on our health, the attacks on reason. I mean, the fact that there are not just men and women. These attacks on reason, on freedom, on truth, on justice, on health are creating for me, for Julie, new relationships, but built on deep, deep, important issues. You've heard me talk before about freedom. I'm going to do another show on freedom, but freedom is what makes you human. It is important. If you don't think it's important, then you haven't spent time thinking about it, or you have put safety and this illusion of safety ahead of your freedom. These are important matters, and when you find new people who also consider them important, then you build a friendship based on solid foundations, not just on the fact of being proximate to somebody and seeing somebody frequently, and then you become friends. I think these new friendships are being built on big ideas. These new friendships are also being reinforced by jointly contributing to a particular outcome. For example, pushing back against government overreach, pushing back against lies in the mainstream media, pushing back against impositions on your lives, on our lives, that we don't want. That type of joint contribution builds deeper relationships. As you well know from being part of a great sporting team, striving for a premiership, it builds great relationships. And I have wonderful relationships through striving together in sporting teams, but also in many other charitable teams. Another example of that is service groups, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs. The members of those clubs work together. And then it's under the pressure of that joint contribution that new elements of their character emerges and either destroys the friendships or damages them or reduces them, because people say, no, I don't want to be close friends with that person. Or you go, yes, I want to be deep, close friends with that person. I urge you to think consciously and be conscious about your friends. Don't just let it happen. It's wonderful to let it happen, but then decide, where are you investing your precious time and energy? I love humanity. I love people. I consider myself a Christian. I do my best to love people who think differently to me. But there are people who add to me, who multiply me, but then there are people who subtract from me or divide me. I'm sure you have that in your life. When you think about it consciously, it will help you make a decision to let go of the friendships that don't serve you and what you want your life to be about, what you think is important, what is consistent with your philosophy around life, just like my philosophy around coffee. I'm really clear about the value of coffee, and I want coffee in my life. It's one of my great friends. Haha, that was a joke. People come into our lives for a reason or a season or a lifetime. It's okay to have someone come in for a short period of time. You don't have to hold on to people. And one of the ways to make great friends is to be willing to contribute to the lives of those people, to think about those people, how you can add value to those lives. Because as you add value to those lives, it doesn't mean that they have to add the same value back to you. But the universe works in amazing ways. When you give, the universe, because it's in balance, gives to you, but in other ways. And I invite you to think about and meditate on the good that you've done for others, and then think about, well, hang on, where has good come into your life from other sources? You haven't directly linked it to the good that you did, but that's how the universe works. This is an energetic universe, a universe full of energy, full of vibration. And there's a well-known saying that says, you can't do something good for another without something good happening to you. Raising your self-awareness about your friendship will help you make these subtle, slight changes, sometimes big changes, but raising your deep beliefs around, well, why am I friends with that person? What is it about that relationship? And which of your friendships do you have where you are letting that relationship slide when you don't want to let it slide because you're being distracted by new friends, perhaps not on the best basis? And that's one of the reasons why you make this conscious decision. I want to be closer friends with these particular people. And if because of that decision you have to let go of some other friendships, then that's making your decisions about your friends consciously. These are subtle changes that you make in life, but as we become more and more competent about certain areas, then the changes are indeed subtle. Friends are wonderful. Having invisible means of support is wonderful. Are you investing time, energy in the right areas for you? So let's get some resources to think about this issue of friendships more consciously. And of course, the song is That's What Friends Are For. That's what this episode is entitled. Or titled. That's a good question. Is it titled or entitled? Take your choice. Beautiful lyrics, that's what friends are for. And I never thought I'd feel this way. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I got the chance to say that I do believe I love you. And if I should ever go away, well, then close your eyes and try to feel the way we do today. And then the chorus goes on. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me for sure. So who can count on you for sure? That's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Think about that. This song had a profound impact on me for a whole bunch of reasons I haven't got time to go into, but the second verse says, you came and opened me, and now there's so much more I see. And so, by the way, I thank you. And then for the times when we're apart, well, then close your eyes and know these words are coming from my heart. Beautiful, beautiful song. It'll put you into the spiritual space when you want to think about your friends. My quote is from Martin Luther King. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. That's an interesting idea, isn't it? Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. My book. And this book is a wonderful, wonderful book by Matt Ridley, The Rational Optimist. And I read it some years ago. I think it's important in challenging times that we're in is to understand why it makes total sense to be optimistic about the future, but then also to fight for the future that we want. Don't let it happen. Don't let the globalist agenda impose a one world government. I'm optimistic about the future, but I need friends to work with to make sure that the future that we create is one that serves us rather than enslaves us. Get your friends to work together with you to build a future about which we can be optimistic. My health tip for you is to look into vibrational frequencies, is to look into vibrational medicine, is to listen to my 2-hour conversation with Rob Verkerk on TNT Radio, to look into the 2-part article written by Rob Verkerk on vibrational frequencies. You are energy, you are vibration, and there is so much knowledge happening around vibrational healing and machinery that enables vibrational healing that being unaware of the possibilities means you're not giving yourself the choices of how to improve your health. Take an interest in it. My spiritual tip is in relation to friends. Friendship is my second F in the 10 Fs of spirituality. You've heard me talk about it before. Family, friends, faith, freedom, fearlessness, fun. Friends, crucial element of spirituality. So in a spiritual sense, think about, meditate upon which of your friends you want to do something good for. Just surprising, just a thank you for being a friend. And a spot of humor. We need a spot of humor. Here it is. A friend is like a good bra. Hard to find, supportive, comfortable, always lifts you up, never lets you down or leaves you hanging, and is always close to your heart. How do you like that? Ha And there's another one. A true friend is someone who thinks you're a good egg, even though they know you're slightly cracked. And a nice little story about friends. Hello, is this the police? Yep, what do you want? I'm calling to report about my neighbour Tony. He's hiding marijuana inside his firewood. Thanks very much for the call, sir. The next day, the police officers descend on Tony's house. They searched the shed where the firewood was kept. Using axes, they busted open every piece of wood but found no marijuana. They swore at Tony and left. The phone rang at Tony's house. Hey, Tony, did the cops come? Yeah. Did they chop your firewood? Yeah. Happy birthday, buddy. Love it, love it, love it. So, I hope those 6 resources help you think about and implement today's big idea to handle your friendships consciously. My aim for this show is to provoke you, to inspire you, to motivate you, to develop your life, to build your life, to raise your self-awareness, to enable you to create your life how you want it to be. I invite you to subscribe to the show on YouTube or Rumble or via podcast. If you enjoy it, please share it amongst your family, friends, work colleagues. Visit our websites, covest.com for corporate programs and then charlescovest.com for the self-awareness and passion quest. My books, Passionate People Produce and Passionate Performance, are available at both of those websites. Now, let's review a couple of happenings over the course of the last week. Over the last weekend, there was a significant visit by Doctors Peter McCullough and Pierre Corey, who did a tour of the East Coast, sharing their view about health, about what's happened around the world on government overreach, on what's been done to humanity. It was inspiring for many thousands of people. It was wonderful to see them, and well done to Clive Palmer and the United Australia Party for enabling that tour to happen. Many people said it was wonderful to get together with freedom warriors in the same space, to share ideas, to feel the humanity rather than the humanity of people working together to preserve our lifestyle rather than doing everything via Zoom. Just one idea that you get from a face-to-face conversation can make such a difference, just like this show that is about one big idea. You know, it could just be the piece of information that you're looking for. So going to events, investing the time and the energy and the money to go to events is important. Think about whether you're getting perhaps lazy and go, I don't need to go there because I can watch it online. No, there's real benefit in the face-to-face interaction. During the week, there's been a lot of press about a lot of news about the Turkey earthquake disaster, and then New Zealand had an earthquake and cyclone. But interestingly, I was saying to Julie that the news coverage on these disasters is remarkably minimal in the mainstream media. I'm quite surprised how little there has been. I feel for the people whose lives are totally disrupted by earthquakes, but let me assure you it's not because of a climate emergency. There are ongoing sudden deaths of young people. I know what's causing those sudden deaths. And if you put your head in the sand and say, oh no, there's some new idea, like some research report came out and said, oh, there's an amazing new link between bacteria and heart attacks. Nonsense. We know where the suddenitis is coming from. It's from having poisons jabbed into bodies. It's also concerning to see the ongoing attacks on Christianity. And all of you who are Christians, all of you who think Christianity is a useful idea, it is important that if you think Christianity is important, that you do something about it. The mainstream media has no dramas attacking Christianity, wouldn't dare attack Islam, wouldn't dare attack Judaism or any other religion or philosophy, but Christianity is fair game. I say we need to stand up against these attacks because the Western civilization was founded on Christian principles, the essence of which is that you matter. Each one of us matters. And to sacrifice individuals for humanity is a flawed thinking process. And lastly, the Nord 2 pipeline in the Baltic Sea. The news that's come out is that America blew that pipeline up. Incontrovertible facts. And you start to go, that is an act of terrorism. That is an act of war by the US government. Take an interest in the blowing up of that pipeline and what all of that means. We are in some interesting geopolitical times being driven by nefarious forces, and the Jeffrey Epstein investigations, I heard on the radio that his diary is going to be disclosed over the course of the next few weeks of the people who were close friends with Epstein, who went on his trips. Well, that is a honeypotting, blackmailing game so that people in high places are not making the right decisions for the benefit of those whom they lead, but to preserve their own position, so they're not making good decisions. There are some interesting times, everybody. I urge you to take an interest. And lastly, of course, while all this is going on, Julie and I are happy. We are looking after our bodies. We are putting the appropriate nutrition in, doing the exercise every day. I urge you to do the same. Look after this magnificent machine called your body. The mental, the physical, the spiritual aspects of it. All right. So if you're new to the show, stick around to hear about the foundational principles of the show, find out more background about me. For regular viewers and listeners, that's it for this week. Thanks for being with us. We wish you a wonderful week of passion, of challenge, of ever-increasing self-awareness, and of fun. Thanks for being with us. Have a great week. Look forward to being with you next week. Bye. And now, for viewers and listeners who want to know more about my background and what else I do with my life, as well as the foundational principles of the show, here we are. Since 1993, when I left my legal career, a career that I love, to become Australasia's passion provocateur, I have inspired and provoked and educated and motivated people all over the world to discover and pursue their passion. I have helped people via the books that I've written, via speeches at conferences, via in-depth team building programs, workshops over 1, 2 or 3 days, or over 3 months, 6 months. And I've coached people of all ages, one-on-one, from small, medium and large enterprises, government enterprises, helping them to identify the often tiny changes that can make a massive difference. One of my core principles is that freedom is what makes us truly human. That's why one of the greatest threats that government imposes on you to force you to observe its laws is the threat of imprisonment, the loss of your freedom. Just think about that. Government says if you don't behave yourself, we're going to put you in jail. No, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my freedom. That's a reminder to you of why freedom is so important. Without freedom, you and I are not much different to animals. If you were locked up in a cage for the rest of your life, how different would you be to an animal? This commitment to fighting for freedoms for all people is carried out by me primarily through 5 channels. Number 1, preserving the freedom to pursue your passion. Number 2, inspiring you to be able to be free through excellent health. Number 3, helping preserve freedom throughout the world through the expansion of industrial hemp, a magnificent agricultural crop, an almost miraculous crop that enables every community to thrive independently of government. In this way, the power of government to take away freedom is minimized. Number 4, fighting for freedom through legal strategies. So I do work as a legal strategy consultant, as an interface between clients and their lawyers. And number 5, as chairman of the Australian Institute of Comedy and as a board member of the Australian Cartoon Museum, fighting for the freedom of thought and speech through uncensored comedy and humour, through avoiding political correctness in the comedic space. When you block freedom of speech, freedom of thought, that's the beginning of the end of your freedoms. The foundational principles for the Charles Kovess Show are founded on the formula SA plus P equals S. Your self-awareness added to your passion will guarantee that you are successful. And the best definition of success I have found in life is that success is the progressive realization of your worthy ideals. The progressive realization of your worthy ideals. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous principle and quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." You can see I'm wearing my red jacket. I wear my red jacket for all my shows. Red is the colour of passion, so that when you see me on the YouTube version, it reminds you that when you see red in your life, you ask yourself the question, am I pursuing my passion? What am I passionate about? Am I still passionate about that? What might I newly be passionate about? Each week I explore one big idea that can change your life. And it's just one big idea because there's a chance you will remember it. If I give you too many ideas, then we get confused and we don't do anything. Clarity leads to power. Confusion kills passion. Each week I share simple and practical resources that you've heard me describe in the earlier part of the show. A spiritual tip, a health tip, lyrics of a song, a book, a quote, and of course humour. This show is not politically correct. I have no intention of being politically correct. And I love certain addictions, including my addiction to great coffee, my addiction to exercise, my addiction to reading, and my addiction to certain other unmentionable in public type behaviours. Who would know what they are? This show definitely subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life. So if you don't like discussion of spirituality, this show is not for you. I promise you that I don't include anything in this show that I don't consider to be true and that I have not found to be useful in the work that I've done over the past 28 years, but also over the past 50 years in business, as a lawyer, as a consultant advisor. I only want to share stuff with you that is of value to you. Finally, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to contact me at charles@kovess.com. Again, thanks for watching and listening to my show. Bye.